Peace and blessings. This is your boy Gerald. It is the 25th of October, 2017. How is everybody doing? I know that some did not expect to see me on right now, but it's intended for you to hear this. First and foremost, there is no words that I can convey my deep thanks, as well as the humility that comes from you following me on my journey. And I hope that words that comes from the Spirit reach you. Not when you're in your time of need, but to validate what is already apparent. But just now, something crossed my mind. And I wanted to throw this out there to somebody, because I got a feeling that somebody is really stressing over how their money is. And you're frustrated because it's not stretching. It's not doing its job. Let me tell you something. You got to take your emotion out of how you use that tool. Did you hear what I said? A lot of times we as human beings will allow our distractions and try to emotionally medicate it through financial means. In other words, what I'm saying is, when you're upset, when you don't feel right, what do? Haven't you noticed you spend more money? You may decide to go out, go get something to eat. Some people know that is emotionally eating. Sometimes we go shop. We call that emotional therapy because it's new. But we don't take into consideration that if we don't look at what makes us feel uneasy, there will be a deficit. Them bills will pile up. Them phone calls will continue to harass you. Nobody wants to hear that call on something you already know that you need to do. You already know this. This is not to chastise you. This is something to consider. Did you know in the urban community, we spend the most money in 1 year based off of how and what is our perception of what value it is. But no one takes in consideration of this. You spend $1,500. Notice every year the values go up for a garment with an insignia on it. You spend your hard-earned money, but the quality is not like it was a year before. But no one considers this. What if I told you that if you take the impulse out of how you use that currency, that tool, because that's all it is, you can actually have more if you keep this one consideration. See, let me tell you something. There's a lot of people laughing all the way to the brink, laughing all the way to the bank, especially on the 1st and the 15th, the holiday season. They're waiting. So they're just like, that's all right. Just put it out there. They'll come. Don't worry about it. And we don't deliver. I mean, we don't disappoint. A lot of people don't understand. Like, for example, what you feel is value matters not to the person that produces it. Like, for example, you always see me wear Under Armour, right? You actually think that I spend top dollar every time you see me wearing something? No. This is the same thing that those people that have financial means do as well. Did you realize that your top 5%, your top 20%, even those in the 35th percentile of financial means do not spend the same amount of money that you do, even though they have the means to do it? Did you know that? Did you know that you spend $500, say you spend $500 on a pair of boots, right? So just, you know, especially women, y'all be spending some money, right? Well, when's the last time did you even consider that those $500 price point? You think it costs $500 a man? Because it didn't. If anything, if maybe it cost them 50, 75 for the materials, and then depending on where it comes from. So the point I'm trying to make is this. If you have a sense of style, whatever your style is, stop getting caught up on the label. Put more focus on the quality. Haven't you noticed the things that you pay for whatever the price point is, the quality reflects it too? Think about it. It's about the quality. So if you understand what it takes to make it, go a little deeper. And I guarantee you, not only will you find something that is best, but you will save money in the process. We are in a technological age, family, where at a keystroke, you can find whatever you're looking for. Just make sure that it reflects you. Like, for example, I don't care who the brand is. Just to say that favorite pair of shoes that you got, right? You didn't pay a couple $100 for it. But guess what? It's mass produced. There's a certain amount of sizes that are going to be made for that image that you want. May it be color, may it be even the weight, availability, but it's mass produced, right? Imagine if you took that same energy in that and made it customized. Then you would mind paying that amount because there's only one. Well, we don't do that, now do we? And you spend your hard-earned money to something that will not match up what's spent. Now, I don't know about you, but when you look around, there's a lot of people that are in that phase of having to start over. For some, that's a hardship. For others, that's a blessing because it has given them an opportunity to reevaluate their lives and reprioritize what has the rightful place to be made new. And you've seen a whole lot of people. I mean, just look at the hurricanes, look at the fires. Every year, same old scenario. natural disaster, got to start all over again. Your dollar is nothing but a tool. So let that tool work for you. Now, I understand there are going to be some people that are going to be like, look here, I want what I want, and I'm going to pay whatever it is for that. But you don't see that same zeal. You don't see that same value. You don't see that same energy with those who have. You know why? Because 9 times out of 10, a lot of that is just perks. You understand? Those people that are in positions of public ain't paying for that stuff. That stuff is given to them. Why? To influence you to buy it. They don't spend that. And here's something a lot of people don't know. And I know somebody's gonna turn their nose up on you're gonna be tripping. You realize that a lot of people, what they're doing, like right now, you're finding a lot of websites that are promoting secondhand. A lot of people do that. A lot of people are going to these websites where, it is like a bazaar, buy and sell. And they're paying pennies on a dollar for their goods and services. They're not going to the store unless they got to. But our community, we don't see the value of understanding economics. And our economics are not working for us. It's working against us. Why? Because we're turning around, giving a platform for people that don't understand the value that it represents. For example, I have to throw this out there. You don't see the people in the top 5%. These are the people that can buy whatever they want to buy, gravitating to the things that you pretty much will save, you'll cut a hand off for it. And they got the means to do it. These are the movers and shakers. What's the difference in their viewpoint and yours? It's because every time you impulsively buy, you make money for them. Do you hear what I'm saying? Think about it. While you constantly are going in and out of your favorite store, they've got stock. They love to see you spend your hard-earned money. They love that because you are the example of supply and demand. Remember, I always would throw the analogy of who has the most fun in the club. It's not the bartender. It's not the hostess. It's not you. It's the club owner. And they ain't got to be there. No different than your local laundromat. The laundromat owner doesn't have to be there because they have a service that will always turn a profit every time they open the door. There'll be somebody, no different than the barber, the hairstylist. There'll always be demand. And I hate to say that, I hate to say this, even the liquor store. Because there'll always be business there. Why isn't that same energy applied to our children and the tools that they need? Why is it as time progresses, when it comes to education, it's marginalized? You got to pull teeth to ensure, excuse me, that your children get a decent education. That they have to, you realize there are schools being built every day, and these schools will open up when it's time, and they won't have the tools. But that shouldn't surprise you, because look at our teachers. They're still underpaid, and they spend more time with your child than you do. Who am I talking to? And you know what else? You know what else gets the residual time with your children? That TV, that game controller, them fast food joints. They get the time that you are willfully allowing to be stolen from you, because you're not focusing on what's important. This ain't shade. This is love. This is awareness. For some of y'all, they ain't talking about this. Hold that thought for a second. Because I ain't gonna make this long, but I know somebody needs to hear this, because your father. All right. Family, if you blink twice, you're gonna start a new year. And what else is gonna start is gonna be the continuation of how your financial destiny is gonna play out. You got some people that are conditioned to live check by check, and then you have those that are in a perpetual cycle of, well, you know what, I just go to get that check, I go get the payday loan. Those are good if you ain't got a way, but that is not supposed to be a crutch to get you through your life. Did you hear what I said? We're more prone to go to the payday loan place than to buckle up and go get a job, go get a secondary job, do whatever we got to do to get that debt from over. Because as long as that debt sits, every day is compounded interest. Which means more money that you're going to have to pay out, which means less time for the things you need to do or the things you want to do, because you're obligated while that financial storm is on your shoulders. But I found it kind of ironic. It's been about 3 weeks now. I bought a riding lawnmower for my backyard. My backyard, you can literally play high school football, and it's that long. And the first time that I cut my backyard, it took me 5 hours to cut that backyard. It was that lawnmower. I was like, no, I gotta keep my yard cut. No, because you're gonna always have people you the new person in the neighborhood. So you're the reality show for at least the first 6 to 8 months, because they're gonna be watching you. That's what people do. So you control the perception of what is being interpreted. Why not make it positive? But what I found very ironic was, when it comes to our finances, we don't give ourselves the same concessions that everybody else do. Do you know in the urban community, a lot of your investors or the people that, say, for example, you want a loan, like say you want a small loan, you have a more of a greater chance on being denied because of the fact of what your history and your spending dictates. Did you know that? And as a generic, example, a general oversight, they look at the minority community as liquid assets, because the mindset is just as quick as you get it, just as quick as you spend it. We've all been there. You get a nice paycheck or a nice return, and what happens? Your hand starts burning, your pocket starts burning, and you feel that the only way you're going to feel validated, you got to spend that hard-earned money. But yet you hear people that are in the know, people that have mastered investment say, pay it forward. Pay it forward. We ignore that. If you got the financial means, why are you waiting for that bill to come when you can pay it before it printed? Do you realize that you save more money that way because you offset the finance of daily compounded interest on that debt? Just like I know you probably know somebody that really lives by their credit cards. They got 7 credit cards, when in actuality you only need 2. But if you're paying minimum, you basically are saying, I'm going to give you your hard-earned paycheck away for nothing. Think about the year you spent if you just do the bare minimum. The rest of the community don't do that, family. And that's why they're homeowners. That's why they drive what they drive. That's why they have money in a second or third account. There's plenty of people that have echoed that. You need to have a minimum, especially today, you need to have at least 4 to 5 streams of income coming in. Why? Because when you need it, if one falls short, you still have a reserve coming in compared to nothing. Here's nothing too. Because let's look at vacations. When's the last time you've been on a real vacation? Oh, wait. No, I'm not talking about, well, we went to Six Flags, or we went to whatever the big amusement park is that opens up the summer season, and you go for that day. That's not a vacation. It's not. And this is not the disrespect, but I'm talking to be able to go somewhere out of your area and enjoy it for at least a week. Did you realize that if you set a game plan of where you want to go and you stick to that plan, by the time that you're ready to go, not only you can have it paid for, but you won't have to stress the amount of revenue. Because a lot of people a lot of people will take a vacation. You hear them always say, oh, I'm going to Jamaica, or I'm going to Cancun, or I'm going to Daytona. And then they go on that vacation and they're not even able to truly enjoy it, because in the back of their mind, that cash register is going. it's going. You realize the other populace, they go to vacations every year. You know what? They don't even spend a fraction of what you spend. Why? Because they do it, they make a plan not in the season. So say, for example, you want to do something in the summer, make a decision on where you want to go in the fall, when it's winter time. And then not only will you get a deal on the rate, but you'll actually enjoy where you're going. And here's another thing too. Why is it that we won't step out of our comfort zone? Why is it that we always got to go where everybody goes? Why won't you step out your comfort zone and do something different? This is a big plan, but it's up to you to discover it. I've been all over the world, family. I don't brag about it. I mentioned it. A lot of it was afforded to me through my military career. But the one thing that I definitely did was I wanted to understand how those people, wherever I went, how did they survive? What was their, what made their day to day? What was the commonality that they had compared to what we have in Western civilization? Because the one thing I've noticed, even when for example, I spent 10 years in Europe, and one thing that I always heard was Westerners are arrogant. Westerners are selfish. Westerners are self-centered. And I know a percentage of that is fear. A percentage of that is ignorance too. Because there are things that you don't even know about in your own community that you can do for free. We don't even take advantage of it. Like your parks, your historical landmarks. If you blink twice, family, there's not going to be any more libraries because they're closing them up. You know why? Because libraries have books in them, and those books have history in them. A lot of people don't want some of that history to be learned. So let's go back to that money. You need to be savvy. Come up with a game plan on how you can stretch your dollar. It's okay that you can turn around and tell yourself no. It's all right to choose not to go out. Because you do understand, as long as you go out, you're making the proprietor, more money every time you step in there. Even if it's for 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes worth of money that they didn't have before you walked in. That's why you're hearing so many stores do the rewards program, customer loyalty. What about the loyalty to yourself? What about the loyalty to your dreams? What about the loyalty to your knowledge of who you are? Knowledge of self. How about the loyalty to your self-value and integrity of what makes you you? If you're not willing to stand up for you, do you expect your environment to? No. And unfortunately, what happens is indirectly you rob yourself of time. I keep trying to tell you, the intended people that will earn the right to know your story will validate it through your state of mind because they will be doing the same thing. They don't need your permission to love themselves because they're going to love themselves regardless if you're there or not because they see the preciousness of what time. They understand that everything's here. So you're tired of being broke? You need to come up with a game plan. You need to stick to it. Because as long as you don't stick to it, guess what? You're going to see countless mom and pop, little pop-up spots. We only like that far from making that the norm. Remember when flea markets were big? Some of y'all know, I ain't telling on your age. Flea markets were the place to go before there were malls. Yes. Those were for the impulse buyer. And here's one thing, I'm going to bring this home. Y'all sleeping on this. Stop throwing away your family heirlooms. Stop doing that. Why do you think they are showing you these shows about people going to pawn shops, people going to storage units and buying them, and people buying and flipping things? Why? You wouldn't have nothing to flip if you didn't see the value to keep it. But right now, there's a lot of opportunities, and I can't get mad at them. While y'all are thumbing your nose, saying, nah, that's bougie, they're turning around, coming by your house as you put it out, gladly picking it up, throwing it in their truck, taking it back to wherever they are, cleaning it up. And you know what they're doing? They're taking your hard-earned history and they're putting it up for the highest bidder. And you know who's buying it? It ain't you. Same thing with this property out here. Because this is all about regentrification. What is regentrification? Huh? Regentrification is the acceptance here. Until you really are ready to regentrify your mindset, can you let go of them shackles? No, this ain't about race. This ain't about gender. This is about what's important to you. How much some dreams worth? They're worth the $500 purse that costs $50 to make. I mean, think about it. If I'm going to spend $500 on something, guess what? It's going to have my name stitched in it. I ain't going to worry about if Johnny Neckbone got it. First of all, I don't care about that because I only care about what makes me feel good and emotionally. And on the next person to boost her up your self-esteem, which is fragile. I'm going to share this little story real quick. Take 2 minutes. I remember I had to go up to our medical facility on the base. And it was time for my annual checkup. So I go over there. I go up and I've got my medical records and I sign in. And I'm sitting down, and as the loudspeaker are calling the ticket numbers to be called up, I noticed there was an older gentleman sitting right across from me, and he had the newspaper. And, you know, I had my cell phone and I'm looking online, and I hear him with the newspaper crumpling it. And shh, you know, and he would shake it, shh, and shake it. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm, waiting for them to call my number so I can see the doctor. And the older gentleman was adjusting that newspaper, and he would fold it, and okay, all right, I hope you, because it was becoming a distraction. Then all of a sudden he folds it down and he looks at me He's like, huh? No. Hey, how you doing? Because we made eye contact. And he says, I can't believe it. You know, they got these shoes that these women are paying $1,500, if not more, for these shoes. I already knew what he was talking about. I said, yeah. He said, you know, they call them red toes, red bottom. He's an older guy. Huh? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And just as quick as he said that, and I agreed, he said this. I wish my wife would ask for some shoes called red bottom. She would have one. And I started laughing. But then when you think about it, you don't know what the sacrifice was for whatever the desire was. Because some shoes don't cost $1,500. And I'm not just targeting them. Because some of y'all would just faint if you really knew. They cost less than $100 a minute. That's the markup. Same with any brand. This hat, retail $30, costs $3 to make. So the material. What hikes it up is the demand for it. So let's flip it and let's look at you. What makes you? You're priceless. There'll never be another you. So if you can identify what I said is true, why are you taking concessions? Why are you settling in a situation that you can break? You can break cycle if you decide just to look at it for what it is. But I tell you, the real reason is because a lot of you don't and won't invest in who you really are. That's the reason why you're struggling. You give more credit to your alter ego or persona than the person looking in the mirror that should be loved and protected. But then have the audacity to feel a certain kind of way when the people that you've given access prove to you they don't deserve to be there. So they're going to fail. They're going to keep failing over and over and over. It's no different than, I love you, Queens. You know I do. But I got to throw this out there. It's no different than for you to have a mindset of, I got this type of man in my mind. How's that working? Only thing changing is the years, aren't they? And your quota gets watered down every year. Well, no, I wanted him to be 6'5", 270, rocked up. You know, he had to be a multi-millionaire. Yeah. As the years progress, you still won't find that, right? And your standards are becoming more realistic to the point that the real you is saying, no, I really want someone to love me just as much as I love myself. I just want someone to just be there and give me the truth, but make sure that I feel safe. Don't concession, because the real you is gonna come out. And that's why a lot of times you see this. You see a lot of hurt, bitter people in this world. But you know those same hurt, bitter people that are in the world, you know what happens? Whatever that they were able to manipulate or obtain, they lose they lose double of how they got it until there's nothing left. No one to stand there, no one to pick them up. And oh, that money, the money. You do understand when you see people out here putting money to their ear, that ain't money. They laughing at you when you do that. Because every time you do that, you're basically saying you don't understand what the tool stands for. You don't see Bill Gates doing that. You don't see Warren Buffett doing that. You don't see him doing that. Why? Because they're laughing all the way to the bank at our foolishness. They don't, it's like you guys still don't get it, no. Your mouth says you want a brand new truck, but you haven't even mastered riding a bus. Who am I talking to? And every time that you decide to take a shortcut, you pay for it. Yes, you pay for it because it cuts you short. It cuts something else out. That's why it doesn't benefit you to take shortcuts. But that's not here nor there because you already know what I'm talking about because you refuse to admit it to yourself. So until you decide to get real with you, not the person you perceive to be outside. Because I'm going to tell you what, the world don't give a damn about you. Let's be this real. Let's be real. The world don't give a damn about you until you decide to. You don't see your value, queen? Does it surprise you? You track nothing but little boys that act like Johns. And love is nowhere in sight. But fantasy. He got you doing something strange for some change these days, huh? And you actually think he's going to marry you? Even though he said, oh, I'm going to leave her. No, this ain't working out this time, baby girl. I'm done. Just give me a couple of weeks. It's been going on for a couple of years now, ain't it? No different than you, King. You still holding your breath, waiting for her to change. Don't you realize she's going to continue to do that because you continue to give her the reason to do it. If she was going to change, she would have did it before the first hello. So, you need to stop worrying about what's in your wallet and look at what's inside your heart. What's got you distracted here? Because as long as you do, as long as you look away, they're going to keep making money off of your insecurities. It's no different than somebody fishing in a bucket. They just put the gimmick out there. It's the same tactic they've been using to distract you as a child. Remember when you were a little baby? Some of y'all had that little mobile over your head and you were in awe. I forgot about that. That's still you. The only thing happened is you grew up a little bit. Your body's aging. What is it going to take? Some of y'all know. So bottom line, you want your money to grow? Your money is just like it's worldly. It's a reflection of your state of mind. So what is priority to you? If it ain't you first, don't worry about what's outside your door. It matters not. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern my. And I know there are going to be some people like, Yeah, whatever. Well, I don't wish bad on you, but poverty doesn't look good on nobody. But you know what's worse? Is knowing that you have the means to change it and you choose not to. Whose life you living? Is it yours? Or are you living through it? Be blessed.